Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Alexios here. It's Saturday morning, so we're doing a Saturday Share the Love Club. And today we go around and get all the Raptors to players and personalities and different people. Well, we haven't done Leo Rautins for a Saturday Share the Love Club yet. We did Matt Devlin earlier this summer, so I'm going to do Leo Rautins right now because Leo's had a interesting summer. It's ups and downs. Of course, most recently we found out that he has these big, huge, beautiful dogs, and he's always posting them on Instagram, always posting them on social media, and talking about their adventures. He has these two big ones. He had these two big ones, and then he had a little one, and they all interact. And he's always updating us on them. Well, one of the dogs died a couple weeks ago, and it's sad, and I hate that. I hate that. I've been hearing about different people that have dogs, and this very hot summer has possibly been a little hard on older dogs this summer, especially big older dogs. If you have a large dog species and you're dealing with this summer, especially the dogs that have a lot of hair, you got to watch out for them in the summertime because the temperatures have been up this summer, and you really got to make sure they're getting enough shade, enough water, and enough care. I know that I don't know any of the details about what happened with Leo's dog. I'm just giving general dog care to people because we love them. We want them to be okay. So we know Leo's been grieving the loss of his dog in the last couple of weeks. It's sad. It sucks. When I see the pictures of the one dog by itself now, I'm like, oh man, there were two of them. I'm like, ah. But either way, it's been a tough summer for Leo and Matt. Matt with his injury, and Leo with this thing that happened. But although Leo did have a very good positive thing happen this summer, also, he had a very, very good surgery on his back, and he got some relief in certain ways, health wise, that he hasn't had in years. So there's a couple of good things happening also for him. Of course, we love Leo. Leo is a legit Canadian basketball legend. When Matt Devlin says that on the broadcast, he's not being facetious. He's not making that up. He very much is a real Canadian basketball legend. He's a legend for playing for our Canadian national team. And he's a legend for the things he did while he was a player. And we appreciate Leo for sure. Now, I've always talked about this. I give him and Jack Armstrong two of the biggest credits of teaching the country of Canada basketball in the NBA specifically. That from the very beginning, pretty much Leo was here and he was teaching the Canadians more about the sport, because when we got the Toronto Raptors, it was not that we were very savvy with the NBA or knowing the game, and we literally needed to learn it. So Leo was that guy who kind of gets a lot of credit for teaching basketball X's and O's and philosophy and theory to the masses of Canadians. And Jack came along after a little while, and he started doing it too. Paul Jones, another great person who has taught this country what basketball is and how it should be viewed and what to look for and stuff. So I just want to appreciate and share the love for Leo Rautins, y'all. And sometimes in his career, he has been annoying. Yes, he has. There's been times when I'm like, I don't want to listen to Leo. Those times would be I really had a hard time with him in the beginning of the Raptors franchise in the 90s. I had a hard time with him because he was so cynical, so negative. He put the Raptors down left and right. And I mean, I guess he was right because it wasn't the best quality basketball, but it did annoy me. And then there was a period of time somewhere around the Bosch era, somewhere in the early 2010s, where people got in with him because he kind of like repeated a lot of the same kind of stuff. There was one in particular that he would say, and everybody'd be like, "Oh, Leo's going to say this." It's about block shots, and he was notorious for saying, "Yeah, it's great to block the shot and make it go out of bounds, but if you could block it and keep it in bounds and keep the ball in possession of the team, that's way better." He would say that pretty often, and everybody was like saying, "Oh, he's always saying that." But whether it's been ups and downs with Leo. But at this point, I really love him. Honestly, at this point, for him being critical and negative of the Raptors at times when they weren't very good, well, they probably deserved it, even though I didn't like hearing it as a diehard Raptors freak. But he's been awesome. He's been fair, and in some ways, I've really loved Alvin being in that spot instead of him. But in some ways, I also do kind of miss Leo in the booth also. but he has gotten his chances to jump back in there, depending on somebody can't, announce because of COVID or something like that. Then all of a sudden we see Leo announcing the game all of a sudden again. So we just love Leo Rautins. Thank you, Leo, for your part in the Raptors history with your work broadcasting for them. So many different roles at different times. Of course, you were the coach of Team Canada for a little while, the men's Olympic team, or the men's team, I should say, not the Olympic team exactly. But yeah, really, really, really appreciate Leo Rautins. If y'all have anything about Leo Rautins, you want to share the love about him or talk about Leo Rautins, please put it in the comments for today. And we'll talk about Leo, good old Leo. All right, let me see what else you guys are saying today. Trevor is first in, Trevor J. Good morning, Raptors family. Good morning to you, Trevor, wherever you are in your travels and your work. Hopefully, good things are happening. Trevor's saying, surround yourself with positive energy and do not let negative and toxic energy enter your life because I only have one job and only one job only. And it is their own, they only have one job and it is only their job to destroy what you have. Ooh. Yeah, no, if you can figure out, you get feelings and vibes from people when you talk to them. You have experience with different people of your life. You start to recognize people and patterns that may be not good for you. And then, you try and steer clear of them. You go away from them or you avoid them. Maybe, oh, I'm not going to fall for that one. I've been through this before when I was younger and I know what kind of thing this is going to turn out to be. So as you get older with experience and age and wisdom, you understand who may not be good for you to be around and you get better at it as you get older. In fact, that's part of the reason why your circle gets smaller as you get older. In some ways, you have friends in high school that you're young and you're totally just young people and you haven't really fully formed as an adult. Well, as you fully form as an adult and you get older, sometimes y'all aren't really friends anymore because you don't really have a lot in common. And there's a lot of things that kind of like, and it may be that they were friends that were fine at that wild and young time. But as you get older, they're still wild and young. And you're like, I got to chill out. I'm getting older now. And they're still doing the same things as when y'all were teenagers. So, there's a lot of different ways people can be toxic and they can, they can be just straight up toxic people, or they could be good people that were in your lives at a certain stage, but later on in another stage, they're toxic for you to be around. So great words of wisdom, Trevor J. Thank you. And you know what? Let's not paint everybody as having one job to destroy us. I think that, once again, another good lesson is that when people do us wrong, it doesn't have to do with us usually. It has to do with them. And it has to do with the problem that they have, and that we're just a casualty or somebody on the side that's getting the brunt of it. But it usually doesn't have to do with us, and it's nothing personal. It's just that they have problems, and we just happen to be the person who's getting the toxic from it. All right, let's see. Raymond Jacobs saying something again today. The force is strong with Trevor. I personally think having both positive and negative energy is key to balance in life with oneself. Haha, you got to get some of that dark side. My 2 cents. Wow. Wow, Raymond Jacob, really philosophical here. The yin and the yang of life is there's a positive in the dark, and there's a light in the dark, and a dark in the light. This is a very good, important philosophy. If you ignore the dark side of life, well, in some ways there is something that Raymond's talking about here, that it's better to balance it with a little bit of this and this. But in some ways, you got to really be careful about that dark side and not let it be too much the other way. So I mean, it's different, and it's hard to describe this exactly, but I get what Raymond's trying to say. But it's a little difficult for me to just specifically talk about it in some sort of way. There's going to be good and bad forces in your life. In some ways, you have to embrace the bad forces also, because there's a balance and a harmony between the good and the bad. I get what you're saying, Raymond. Trevor's saying we cannot hear you. You can't hear me. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Have y'all heard me now? Is this on now? Can you hear me, Trevor? I just want to make sure you can hear me. Let me see. All right, let's keep going. Nako's saying, okay, Nako said you can hear me. Thank you, Gerald. Nako's saying it's been a sad week in the press. I think I learned the most with Alvin personally. It's been a sad week in the press. Well, I don't know what you're alluding to, Nako the Nacho. Please elaborate in another comment. so I can find out what you're talking about about with the sad week in the press. If there's a specific story, we'll definitely talk about it. You learn the most with Alvin personally. You know what? That's a great statement. I love that. There's different levels to learning at this point. In some ways, what we needed from people like Jack and Chuck Swirsky, Leo Rautins, Paul Jones, Sherman Hamilton is just the basic primer about basketball in the beginning. The early years of the Raptors and the purple dinosaur jerseys. We really needed to baby the audience and really teach them the basic rules and the basic things about basketball. Well, we're smarter as basketball fans in Canada, so we can go a little more advanced. And in some ways, Alvin Williams is more advanced because he's a former player. He was around a lot of Raptors and played for the Raptors, and he can really give us real life experience from playing for the Raptors with Vince Carter and Morris Peterson and different people. And that's a great advanced kind of level of learning because he can say stuff and we kind of know what he's saying more because we know the lingo. We know basketball terms better. We understand. So there's levels to this. And I agree. I love Alvin calling games. And part of the reason why is because he really does inject his own personal experience playing for the Raptors into the games. And he is such a knowledgeable person. You want to listen to an announcer that knows what they're talking about. And that means somebody who's done it. And Alvin is that guy. So I love that. I love that about Alvin. And I've enjoyed Alvin too. I think it's been a great switch. In some ways, Leo's been around forever. And it's not like, in some ways he's getting older. And there needs to be changes like this. Rod Black retiring and kind of going away has been a big change in the broadcast for the Raptors. This is going to happen. There's going to be turnover. And there should be new people coming in and doing the jobs also. It's better for the game. It's better for different things, for sure. So let's see. Raymond Jacobs saying morning, ha 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 ha, morning, like a cow. Are you saying that like a cow? Let's see. Leslie's here. Good to see Leslie and Hart. Good morning, Rabbit Freak family. Missed you guys. Leo never gets too high, but he calls it honestly. There you go. There you go. He is a little grounded in reality for sure. And if we're doing well, it's not that he's an Eeyore or a negative Nancy. It's more that he's like, well, we'll have to see if they can do this in the playoffs or something like that. He can be very grounded and realistic, and I do appreciate him for that. But even in his more recent years, he's a lot more upbeat and optimistic about the Raptors. And you can tell it used to be back in the day. I wasn't so sure if he was a fan of the team, but now he is. You can tell he cares about the Raptors doing well, and he wants them to do well. Sometimes that matters to me. I don't like announcers who are very down the middle and just kind of like they don't have any kind of homer favoritism kind of stuff. Some people really love that and they think that's important, but bullshit. If you're an announcer for the NBA and you're supposed to be impartial, yeah. But if you're an announcer for a specific team, you should be a little bit homer because you have to remember what your target audience is. And, in the beginning, Leo didn't really show that he was a Raptors kind of fan. It was more, he was very cut and dry and very, very critical of them. And it wasn't like he had any love or affinity for them. He was just basically like, well, the Raptors want to win. They got to stop turning over the ball. He say shit like that and stuff like that. And that's fair. But in some ways, I like very much the home team to have homer kind of announcers, especially for us, because other markets are going to have that for sure. And it's not right for us to try and be like the most impartial home team announcers around the whole entire league when everybody else is so undeniably homer for the home team. So, yeah, I love how Leo is now. Before, he was a little too not very nice to the Raptors before in the past, but you're right. He's been very honest about the Raptors, even when I didn't want to hear it. Nako saying, I can hear you. You can. All right, good. Trevor saying, we only seen your lips move, but no noise. What? You seriously? You should be able to hear me. It's indicating that there's noise coming through. Hopefully you can hear me now. I'll have to go back and watch it and make sure nothing's weird. All right, let's see. Naco the Nacho saying this is what he was concerned about. A bunch of news stories concerning several celebrity deaths and scandals. Josh Jackson and Lizzo getting caught in scandals. Argus Cloud, Pee Wee Herman, and Hector Salmonaka passing away. Yeah, there is, there's been a lot of people passing away in the last few years. And it's shocking. It is what it is. I mean, it's weird. The pandemic has something to do with it. Stress of society has something to do with it. This old age has something to do with it. I mean, Hector Salmanaka was in Scarface and was like almost 90 years old, Gerald, or was 90-year old. That was expected. But somebody like Angus Cloud, that's way too young. And that is really sad and awful. Pee Wee Herman silently suffering with cancer for a few years already, and these things are going to happen. Now, talking about the scandals, let's talk about these ones real quick. First of all, I'll talk about Lizzo. In some ways, I don't know what to think about these Lizzo allegations. In some ways, they sound like a witch hunt. I don't know which is true or not. In some ways, I don't like how they're going after Lizzo right now, because I get this. When somebody is like Lizzo, they're a little bit weird, a little bit quirky. It's a very similar thing to like Pee Wee Herman or Sinead O'Connor or Ellen DeGeneres or Shanti Marstika. Listen, they may do bad things and they have bad stuff about them, but there's an extra gumption to go after people like this because they're kind of not the norm, and they're kind of, they piss off the status quo. When Lizzo did the flute thing in the Capitol with Thomas Jefferson's slave flute, that pissed a lot of racists off. That pissed a lot of people, status quo people that don't like Lizzo. There's people that hate women, that hate fat women, that will come after her and really try and sue her. Now, the incident they're talking about is saying she fat shamed some of her dancers and made them do sexual things or something like that. First of all, the allegations sound full of shit. And I think they're really just trying to cancel her. They're coming after her like they would try and come after somebody like Ellen and stuff like that. Maybe Ellen was a bitch behind the scenes on her show, but don't tell me there weren't forces out there trying to destroy these people. There are definitely forces out there trying to destroy these people. And that's what I'll caution people about with this Lizzo thing. That in some ways they're just trying to destroy a woman who's gotten somewhere, who looks different than anybody that's gotten like that in a while. And I hate that kind of shit. This is what happened with Pee Wee and the little jerk house. This is what's happened to Ellen. And I'm not saying these people didn't do the things they did, but the thing you got to understand is everybody's doing crazy weird shit on the down low. And they won't go after somebody like Peyton Manning for flopping his dick on top of the athletic trainer in Tennessee, like with a vengeance, but they will after quirky, weird, kind of not normal kind of people around now. And that's what I'm saying. The cancel culture is coming after her, but it's not even cancel culture. It's hate culture that hates people that are different, and especially a big plus size black woman who tells people how she feels. So I caution anyone on making a judgment about Lizzo right now, because it could be a couple things. It could be a couple of money grabbers who are just trying to capitalize on something. It could also be a very concerted effort by certain forces in the media to cancel her because they don't like a big plus size black woman being so powerful in what she's doing. I don't know what happened with Lizzo. Whatever happened with Lizzo, we'll find out. But know that these forces are out there that go after weirdos and weird people that don't exactly fit. They want to tarnish their image and make them come down. They don't realize how much of a role model and how important she is to people like her, to show that people can do what she's doing. And that's the thing that pisses me off about it. Now, if Lizzo did some dumb thing where she went to a strip club with her dancers and told them to touch the girl's boob, seriously, you going to tell me that's wrong? You going to tell me that's a messed up thing to do? They went to a strip club with her. They knew where they're going to be in a strip club with her. Now, you're going to tell me that somebody who has a platform for a body positive and is all about that is fat shaming her own dancers? That doesn't sound right either. Something's not adding up here. It sounds like they're trumping up and making up some bullshit about her. As far as this is what my spidey sense is telling me about the whole Lizzo scandal this week. Is a lot of bullshit, and they're trying to destroy her, is what it is. So, and it could very well be for blowing on that slave whistle in the Capitol. I'm telling you, there's people that really got pissed off about that, and they will circle back and try and tear her down later. And that's what they're doing right now. Yeah. All right. Now let's talk about the Josh Jackson thing. This came out yesterday that Josh Jackson has a rape allegation against him for a party after the Super Bowl in 2022. The young woman who wanted to hang out with Andre Drummond, not even with Josh Jackson, was trying to meet up with Andre Drummond. And well, she went to a hotel room because she thought that Andre Drummond was there with Josh Jackson, but Andre Drummond was not there. Josh Jackson was there. Josh Jackson offered the young woman $1,500 to sleep with him, and she refused. She did not want to have anything to do with him, but she had been drinking already quite a bit. And she said she passed out in the hotel room and she woke up with Josh raping her while she was sleeping. Well, then she left and she got a plan B and did a couple of things and went home. But then Josh Jackson was telling his lady friends that she stole a watch from him. And so he sent some lady friends of his in hoodies that came over to the house and kind of like strong armed her in her house and said, "You stole his watch," or something like that, where she had not stolen anything. And they actually got criminally charged for assault and larceny for going over there and attacking this woman. So there's a little bit of a lot of stuff here with Josh Jackson. This is weird. This is very bad. And this dude's career just went blew up. We was in our summer league last year, and he was in training camp, and he got cut, and he didn't make it. But yeah, this is not a good look for Josh Jackson, and he's got the same lawyer as Trump does. This is a crazy thing. He's hired Trump's lawyer, who I don't understand how Trump's lawyer has any time to take any other cases with all the indictments rolling in on Trump right now. And then also, this same lawyer is the same one who defended Tim Donaghy during his sports betting scandals. So this is an interesting lawyer who's helping out Josh Jackson. I don't know what to think. I mean, that story sounds like that's legit, and he could have possibly done that. The description in the story and what she's saying is very honest sounding, and she didn't want to have anything to do with him. She was looking for Andre Drummond. That's the crazy thing about the whole story. There you go. Let's see. Raymond's saying, "I'm a natural philosopher," and Lex got it. You can't be too soft. You got to go through hard times to get tough too. Anyway, topic honestly, Leo always put me to sleep. Well, it's true. In some ways, we have dark forces inside of ourselves, but in some ways, we need to control them and maybe find a positive way to utilize them in a certain way, because there are ways to use the dark forces in positive ways, for sure. For sure. The balance is important. Trevor's saying, "I watched a little clip on Christian Coloco yesterday. He looks very good on the court." Oh, I love it. Trevor's doing summer scouting and he's seen some Coloco clips, and he is very much moving well around the basket, it looks like. I just want him to be aggressive. I just want him to be strong. I don't want him to pussyfoot around the basket. I want him to go up very, very strong and jam it on them hoes, is what I want him to do this year. And yeah, some of the footage I'm seeing of Christian this summer is very promising also. Very, very promising. All right, let's see who else is here. Iceman LeGervin is checking in. Patrick McCaw has joined Filou Oostende in Belgium. The team announced he spent last season with the G League champion Delaware Bluecoats. Well, I guess Filou Oostende is going to win the Belgian league this year. It's already written. If you have Pat McCaw show up on your roster all of a sudden, well, you should probably just mark it in. You're going to win. There's two guys that used to be Raptors that just go places and win everywhere: Jordan Lloyd and Patrick McCaw. And you just said it right there, Iceman LeGervin. This man is the champion G League Delaware Bluecoats right now. He just came from a championship in the G League. Well, he's going to go to Belgium and probably win a championship over there. So good for you, Belgian team. You just bought a champion, and probably you're going to win this year. This is how things happen with McCaw and his charmed life. Fantastic news. Thank you, Iceman. Fun guys here. Good to see you. I'm a fun guy. I could swear Hector Salmanaka is a Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul character. Laugh out loud. He is actually, yes, he is. This is the actor. I don't know what his name is exactly, but he is an actor who's been in movies and TV for quite a while. He plays the guy who's in the wheelchair that rings the bell, and that whole part in Breaking Bad. You know what I'm talking about? The old guy, and he's like ding 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 ding. He also was in Scarface. If you remember, think about this. This is why he's kind of familiar. There's a part in Scarface where he's like one of the tough guys in it, and he's younger. So he's got a history of being in really cool kind of crime TV shows and movies. So yeah, that dude just passed this week, and rest in peace. There's a lot of people that have been passing recently, and it is sad. It sucks. But there's other reason for that. Part of it is we're all getting older. So our heroes and people that we looked up to, they're going to pass eventually. And then otherwise, there's also the factor that there's more famous people than ever right now. Back in the day, you had some athletes and movie stars, and that's about it. But now there's social media. There's so many different avenues for people to get famous these days. There's just going to be more dead famous people because they're just more famous people. People get famous for the dumbest shit at this point. Like doing TikTok videos and stuff like that. So that's just how it is. Is that there's more famous people than ever because there's so many different ways to be famous in different areas at this point. So it is a very, very interesting phenomena at this point. Dana's here. Good to see Canadian Dana. Good morning, everyone. Good morning to you, Dana. Leslie saying on Raptors tonight, I wish they would give each guy a minute to talk. Give the other guys a chance to eat. That would be smart. Maybe we need to talk to Randy Urban about this. Maybe we'll go down there this season. I've like going to the Raptors tonight now after the games because I know where it is and these guys have talked to me and I kind of want to go there more this season this year. I think that this is a great idea. I mean, seriously, let them chew their food properly. Maybe they're swallowing it too early and they're not chewing it enough. Maybe they need to eat a little bit more because they seem like they're hungry. Like certain ones of them, they really pig out on that show, and you may not hear them very much because they're like more worried about getting food in their mouth than actually helping with expertise on the show. It may be really funny to see one of them, probably Leo, because we see Leo eat a lot. Well, who's eating always? Who's always eating on that show? Somebody's always eating on that show. I think it's Leo. Well, maybe it'd be a fun episode if they had like all of them on there and Leo just ate the whole time and he didn't say anything to anybody. He just sat in the middle of it and he just kept eating wings and whatever food and he just ate the whole time and they didn't even acknowledge him. He was right in the middle of the set and he's just sitting there and he's just eating the whole time. He's just sitting there watching them and they're all talking around him and he doesn't say anything but just eat the whole entire Raptors tonight. That would be fun. For some reason, I wanted to see that just for silliness and weird quirkiness. That'd be cool. But I like your idea, Leslie. Maybe they should have an eat timer. It's like that could be your gimmick, Randy Urban. Put a little timer on the board and say, all right, you got this amount of time that everybody else can eat. And Paul Jones is going to talk for a minute. I like this idea. I think it's good for their stomachs. I think it's good for maybe content. I don't know. Maybe the back and forth's important. The witty banter, Alvin kind of putting people down. There's nothing wrong with that. Cowboys here. Good to see Bradley. Good morning, Lex and Raptor Freaks. Bam, bam, bam. Drinking your beer mug with coffee in it, just like Chris would be doing. All right, you got your beer mug out with your coffee. That's cool stuff. Iceman like Urban saying Ricky Rubio, who was set to play with the Spanish national team at the FIBA World Cup, released a statement saying that he has decided to stop b-ball activities so he can focus on his mental health. Wow, that sucks. I mean, in some ways, I get it. Ricky Rubio's had a long NBA career, and it's been ups and downs, but he may be near the end of like playing for an NBA team. This sounds like, well, if he needs to take a break for his mental health, this is a big deal. Now, this is something for Team Spain. I hate to be selfish and worry about selfish things for me and my teams like Team Canada, but this may be good for Team Canada as far as it being in Spain's bracket and possibly having to see them in the second round after our group round. So, hearing that certain players aren't available to France and Spain and Latvia and places like that, hey, I'm not upset about this. But I do wish Ricky Rubio the best in his battles and getting back straight with being okay in life. For sure. Great information, Iceman, as usual. Trevor's saying, I was looking at the Rico camp. Nobody is there. I didn't see one top player on his camp. Where the Raptors were there last year, everybody was there. I know. There was a vibe to it. In fact, maybe people don't realize one of the reasons why last year's Rico runs were so popular and so put on blast and everybody was so into them and loving them was because all the Raptors were there. That's part of it. You want a big social media fan base on your Rico Hines runs. Put the Raptors on there. All the Raptors fans will be all over that, and you will get tons of views. What are you going to do with just Thomas Bryant and Kenyon Martin Jr. there? You're going to do what you're going to do, Ricos. I bet you'll have big names showing up pretty soon. This is exactly the reaction I had when I saw the first clip from Rico Hines runs this week. I was like, this is boring. Where are the names? And okay, Rico, good. Keep them running. I'm sure that there's years where it's just like this, where there's not as big prestige people rolling through. But last year seemed like a banner year for Rico Hines runs last year. It really, really did. And a big part of it was our team being there. Let's see. Leslie's saying at Trevor J, I noticed that the Rico runs didn't look anything like last year's runs. Yeah. Nothing like it. In some ways, the basketball quality is not as high. That's for sure. It seems like the tempo isn't as up. It seems like they're a little bit more lackadaisical with getting up and down the court. Maybe the competition isn't as great. It's definitely not as great. Definitely not as great. If they've only got like 3 NBA guys there, and then everybody else is just guys trying to make Euro leagues or college players and stuff like that, then the competition level is a little bit. Naco the Nacho saying, is Bruno still the Brazilian MVP? I don't know currently if he is. We know he's had really good success. It's weird. When we drafted him, people made fun of it. People saying 4 years from being 4 years away or 2 years from being 2 years away, all that bullshit. But it's kind of interesting and fun to see Bruno Cabaco's journey as a basketball player and all the different places he just pops up all of a sudden. Like you'll see him all of a sudden, you're like, wait, whoa, he's on the Rockets again all of a sudden. And you'd be like, holy shit, Bruno's on this team. We're going to be playing Bruno. He has had a longevity as a player. It's very interesting. And he still kind of lurks around the NBA on the fringe of it. Very, very interesting. Of course, in international play, he does very well for Brazil. So, yeah, I don't know if he's the MVP currently, Nako, but that's last I heard he was. Yeah. Iceman saying, I don't find that lady's story very believable about the Josh Jackson situation. She seems like she's trying to come up off of him. He allegedly raped her, but she stole his watch. Time will tell. Yeah, I don't know what this whole thing is. Like, I don't know who to believe. In some ways, it's like, listen, if you have the same lawyers as Trump, I'm probably not going to believe you. This is what I'm going to say. It's like this dude's probably coming in to deal with like people that are in big trouble. So it's like, yeah, that's a red flag to me right there. Now, her story seems plausible. I mean, it very much seems plausible in some ways. I don't know. In some ways, I hate this kind of shit and going over it. It is news. It is a guy who was on the Raptors last year. So in some ways, we got to touch on it, but he was barely a Raptor. He came in, he was on our training camp, and that's it. We cut him, and then we haven't had anything to do with him since. Now, the crazy thing is this incident happened before he played for us last year. It happened in the Super Bowl at the beginning of the year, and then in the summer, he came and did training camp with us. So who knows, Iceman? Time will tell. Exactly. Time will tell. In some ways, it's good. People are going to make quick judgments on everything. That's part of the problem. Allegations come out, people make quick judgments. And if they're not really fair allegations, then it tarnishes people's reputation. So we'll have to see. If it's at the stage where he's got Trump's lawyer, when I know he's really trying to get something going. Trump's lawyer represents guilty people usually. Let's just put it that way. Tim Donaghy was guilty. Donald Trump is guilty. I hate to say it. Josh Jackson, that's not the company you want to be in. Seriously, you don't want to be having the same lawyer as Trump. Trump usually, that means you're probably guilty. David's saying, fire Alvin, bring back Leo. Alvin is the worst. Love Leo. Okay, David is very much for Leo. All right, sharing the love for Leo. We'll just avoid the Alvin hate here from David. David's saying, yeah, you don't usually rob people after being attacked. Someone needs to throw these women making false accusations in jail for a long, long time. That's the thing. I don't think that it's true that she robbed him because she didn't get charged for that. That's the thing that's crazy about this. All right, let me read that part again because it's actually what it says in the article that I'm reading right here is, all right, let me read this exactly. Okay, this is what it says exactly. Okay, her identity is concealed in the court filings. It claims she initially went to the party because she was romantically interested in NBA player Andre Drummond, who co-hosted the party and who's not implicated in the woman's allegations. Instead, she ended up leaving with Jackson and then later agreed to meet up with him at his hotel in the early morning hours, believing that Drummond was with him. The woman claims she was very intoxicated upon arriving at Jackson's room at the New York Edition Hotel, at which the lawsuit says he propositioned her for sex, offering her $1,500 while boasting that he had another $12 million in his bank account. The plaintiff says she rebuffed his request before laying down on the bed in the room and falling asleep. At some point later, the plaintiff alleges that she was awakened by Jackson attempting to forcibly have sex with her and tried to fight him off. The lawsuit says she left the hotel room, purchased an emergency contraceptive from a pharmacy, and took a train home where she showered. Later that day, the lawsuit says an accomplice of Jackson's who was at the Super Bowl party sent the plaintiff a threatening text message accusing her of stealing Jackson's watch. Hours later, two imposing hoodie-clad individuals, female individuals who were also named as defendants in the lawsuit, broke into her apartment and physically assaulted and robbed her while announcing that they had come to reclaim Jackson's watch. They were later charged with larceny and criminal trespassing. All right, who is getting charged with larceny and criminal trespassing? The woman who's claiming rape, or the two women who came over and beat her up and stole something from her? It says that the two women were the criminally charged people with stealing something. So that's what I'm saying. This is not adding up. If y'all think that she stole a watch from him, it sounds like that's bullshit about the watch. Because think about it this way: if they're charging those two for coming out and for beating her up and all this stuff, and they're not in trouble for like anything like that, then they're the ones who are wrong. And maybe she didn't steal a watch or anything. They're crazy. So in some ways, y'all are already taking the side of Josh Jackson, but we don't know who's it's true. We don't know what is true. And from the article, it sounds like he's wrong because the two people that he sent over there to get his watch, quote unquote, were arrested for assault and larceny. So you tell me who it sounds like is wrong. Y'all sound like you're on Josh Jackson's side right now. Well, in some ways, I side with the victim first because too many people poo-poo and say shit like what David's saying. We need to punish people with false accusations. No, listen, most people that make these accusations have to be very brave to do it. And they're not doing it for reasons that you think. A lot of times they don't even want to get involved in this kind of shit. And from the way this sounds, this doesn't sound like somebody who's trying to be money hungry or anything like that. So we need to check victim blaming, first of all. And that's the problem here. It's like, okay, you're going to say, okay, anonymous woman, we don't believe you over NBA guy we do know. And that's what I'm saying. Y'all be careful with your victim blaming because we don't know who the victim is in this situation, first of all. Y'all can immediately think that she's a gold digger and she's just trying to steal money from him. But that may not be true in any way in this case. So, yeah, check yourself and don't victim blame. If somebody got raped, you're going to feel bad if you're calling them the problem and saying that they did something wrong. So I wouldn't do that, David. I wouldn't say, oh, we got to come after these women that make false accusations. First of all, that is not the truth about the situations. There's very, very few women out there doing false accusations. There's very, very few. And this is the ones that get put on blast and it makes everybody think this. No, if somebody has the courage to make these allegations in the first place and go through all this shit, usually there's something to it. So, yeah, I'm not victim blaming. And for too long, women have suffered in silence because nobody would listen to them. So don't be the men that aren't listening, is what I'm saying right now, David. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Cowboys saying, I bet the Raptors 2024 championship parade will have a larger attendance than today's Carnival parade. Let's go, Raptors. It's not a contest, Bradley. We'll have to see. I think you might be right. If we get a second championship very soon, I'm sure it'll be off the chain with people all over the place, hanging from street lights, and just like it was in 2019. Oh, yeah. I will be all about that too, Bradley. Bam. Iceman saying, what's going on with the Pac-12? I know these universities are supposed to be places of higher learning. And well, higher learning, you should already know how to count because these divisions and these Pac-10 and all this stuff, they can't count at this point because they're not factually right. There's like 4 teams in the Pac-10. There's like 16 teams in the Pac-12. It's so stupid at this point. No wonder the education system in the U.S. is all fucked up. They can't even count how many teams are in their conferences. This is horrible. This is so sad. Iceman saying, what is going on with the Pac-12? UW, University of Washington, Oregon, UCLA, USC to Big Ten, Arizona State, Colorado, Utah to Big 12, WSU, OSU, Cal, and Stanford left hanging. TV money has destroyed some NCAA conferences. Robert Griffin III, an NFL quarterback or former, I don't know what he's doing with his career, very outspoken about this on Twitter yesterday, saying that the NCAA is getting ruined by money, saying exactly the same thing that Iceman's saying here. And I think this is true. In some ways, college sports are in crisis. You know, the NIL stuff is good in some ways, but it's bad in some ways for competition, for the haves and have-nots. And then, you know, stuff like moving from conference to conference, these conferences need to change their names and reflect how many teams are actually there. Yeah, it's really weird, the stuff that's going on there. I don't really care about college athletics to a degree, especially in the United States, because I understand how full of shit a lot of them are and just how they've been money mills, making money off of young athletes for the longest time. So I'm not against NIL. I'm not against the money going to the athletes. I'm against how the money affects everything and screws everything up. And that is what's happening. In some ways, they're ruining college sports. College sports is getting ruined a couple ways. Charles Barkley is very anti NIL. He's saying that y'all paying these kids and stuff like that just ain't right. And there's some things about this whole system that are destroyed because of this new way of doing things. So he's very concerned about things himself. So yeah, it's very, very interesting. All right, David is sounding like whatchamacallit, grumpy Schmurf right now. I hate parades. They fuck up traffic. I hate Schmurfette. I hate Schmurf berries. You know, do you remember that Schmurf? The one who always said he hated everything? I hate brainy Schmurf. He makes me mad. David's saying also only the Raptors should be allowed to have a parade in the city. Others should go to Oshawa or something. Well, what if the Leafs win? They get their parade in downtown. What about the Jays? What about the Argos? Come on, man, David. Listen, come on. Let's not be so on the wrong side of the bed this morning, guys. David's saying you can't assume the guy's guilty because he hired Trump's lawyer. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. You hired Rudy Giuliani. You are guilty. I'm sorry. This is like if you have a certain lawyer that's always usually representing guilty people. Listen, I'm not going to say Josh Jackson did this, but the allegations are out there and it's in full of force. In some ways, I don't give a shit about this story, y'all. I really, really don't. He's not even really a real Raptor and whatever. In some ways, I don't want to argue about this with y'all, but I do want to make the point that victim blaming and blaming the victim in these situations is a bad reflex. Let's just put it that way, David. Victim blaming and blaming the victim is a bad reflex. Let's just put that and don't do it anymore. Because seriously, you're part of the problem and part of the reason why young women who do get raped hide it and don't say anything about it and suffer in silence. And that's why I'm not for this. You need to be open to allowing women to make allegations if they are being victimized. And that's what I got to say on that. I'm sorry. Let's see. Trevor J saying that's why the rest of the NBA does not like the Raptors. Once we show up, the party begins. Yes, Trevor J. I love that. David saying I side with innocent until proven guilty. Okay, I'm with that. But it doesn't look good. Let's just put it that way. I'm just looking at it from the outside. You have the same lawyer as Trump. You have the same lawyer as Donaghy. Those are guilty motherfuckers. I'm sorry. Guilty people hire the same guilty ass lawyer to try and save their ass. And that's just how I look at it. We can look at it from completely different things. But I read that article and it sounds like she's right and he's in the wrong. Seriously, reading that article and kind of understanding the details. Like I said, she didn't get arrested for stealing a watch. His two friends that came over and beat her up got arrested. So she's not criminally charged for anything. That's the thing about it right there. Let's see. Trust no one, as David's saying. Okay. Leslie's saying, it's Caravana Carnival Day in Toronto. Good vibes. That's right. Leslie is right. Let's get around to the right stuff. The right stuff. The good times. A lot of people in town right now. We see LeBron sightings all over the place. In fact, let's talk about this. LeBron getting the zoo treatment in Yorkville, eating outside yesterday. A lot of people in Toronto hanging out across the sidewalk, taking pictures of him, just watching him while he's eating. A lot of people are being critical of the people watching him, and that they don't realize this is a thing that happens in Toronto. Part of it is our city is just a way of walking around, and you will run into people. Well, if somebody's going to see LeBron James sitting on a patio eating his lunch, that's going to gather a crowd. I'm sorry. These people didn't come and seek him out or kind of look at him. They're just like, whoa, there's LeBron's here. And they think it's a buzz. They feel like, oh, there's something going on here. So in some ways, people in Toronto are attracted to that and they will linger and they will hang around and do stuff like that. Just if there's something kind of cool going on, they will hang around in the area. That's what's going on here. It's not that these people are losers, don't have lives. It's just they're out and about exploring the city and they just happen to discover a very rare Pokemon sitting on the bench eating food in Pokemon Go. Oh, it's a LeBron Pokemon. You know, that's what it is. People are really coming down on those people. And I get it. It's a bad look. And, you know, being a celebrity, they're used to this shit. You know, LeBron's used to this shit. So don't act like these people are hurting him or anything. It's a public property. They can stand there if they want. And it's just what it is. Some people are saying, oh, they're losers for standing there watching a man eat. Well, we are taught to idolize fucking LeBron James by the NBA media machine. So maybe they're just good followers is what they are. I wouldn't stand out there and watch LeBron myself. But I don't come down on people for living their life and being free and stuff like that. They can stand on public property as long as they want. So don't act like what they're doing is wrong or anything like that. Sure, maybe they should leave the man alone, but maybe he should eat inside, or maybe he should eat on the roof so nobody can see him outside. There's ways he can go things. You think you can't calculate where he's going to eat? You don't think that he can't understand? Oh, if I sit here right on the sidewalk, other people are going to see me? It's so dumb. Don't you understand? He kind of wants this. That's part of the reason why he sat outside. You can act like he didn't want it or anything like that. But this is the way Toronto's always been, especially in Yorkville. These guys know this. They got to get seen. They got to get their picture taken. They got to get put on the society page. And that's what they want. There's clips of LeBron and Rich Paul and Draymond Green at the Brent Fayez concert here in Toronto this week, jamming out, grooving. And it's cool. Some people are saying it's like Draymond loves LeBron more than he loves Steph Curry in some ways. I think that's true. The way it seems like it really does seem like that in some ways. But yeah, it's pretty funny. Draymond does hang out with LeBron more than he hangs out with the Warriors. It seems like that. So very, very interesting stuff going on around the city. All the celebrities are in town. If you do see a celebrity, leave them alone. Don't go ask for their autograph in the bathroom. Don't try and get with talking to them while they're eating or doing other things. Just give them their respect and their space. I get it. But in some ways, this is brought about because of the whole NBA media hype machine. If you don't want Beatlemania, don't act like he's the Beatles. That's what I'm saying. You're going to get this shit when you have people of the caliber of LeBron James. That's just how it is. It's just how it is. There you go. Let's see. Fiercey is saying, happy Saturday, fam. Good for Rubio to prioritize his mental health. We don't have any idea the stress or pressure that's put on these guys in some ways. That's part of the reason why they make the big bucks, is because there's a lot that goes with it, good and bad. And that good of that big, huge amount of money has counterbalanced with some really bad stuff. And some of it is mental anguish and pain and stress of being a professional and having expectations on you and how you need to perform and stuff. Ricky Rubio's had an amazing run as an NBA player, and we have no idea how much he's gone through over the years as a very young player when he showed up in Minnesota, and he stuck around. The fact that he's gone this long and he's saying, I just need a timeout at this point to figure things out. There could be all kinds of factors. He's dealing with personal problems that may be part of it also. So we'll have to hope. I wish the best for Ricky Rubio. And, he's a great in some ways. He's an international great for sure. But I don't know how much on the NBA scale he's like a great in the world of the NBA, but he's definitely a great in the international world for sure. All right, David's saying, so we can't victim blame, but we can blame an innocent man for something he may not have done. Bizarre. Well, we don't know who's innocent and who isn't. And listen, once again, I'm going to say this. I read it very much what's in the copy, in the text, and I look at it logically. The way it sounds like she came over to the hotel, was wanting to meet Andre Drummond. He wasn't there. She wasn't interested. She probably should have left right then, but she didn't. She was probably too drunk and she fell asleep on the bed, and he started trying to do shit to her while she was asleep. That's what she's saying. Well, let them investigate. Let them talk it all out, and they'll find out in a court of law. You're right in some ways. This isn't a good look. And in some ways, would this be put on blast if there wasn't some sort of fire to the smoke? I don't know, David. We can have a different opinion on this, and maybe we look at this differently. But also, in the history of time, the woman has been slighted and been victimized in this situation. So in some ways, I will pick the woman over the man in these situations. And in some ways, I don't know if you're going to just pick the man over the woman in this situation. Think about it that way. In the history of time, women have been exploited and not heard and victimized in this. And in some ways, we got to stop victim blaming the woman and making them a pariah or putting them down, because it really is a bad message. If you have children and you have a daughter, you would want her to be able to be courageous enough to step forward and accuse someone of doing a wrongdoing like this to them. So you kind of get some perspective on this. Seriously. In the history of time, more women have been exploited and then have lied about being exploited. They've silently suffered. So this is the reality of the situation. There's not a bunch of gold diggers and women out there that want attention. They're trying to do this shit. This is not Mariah Mills. Trust me. This is something different. That there's more women that have silently suffered and been exploited with no light of day or no allegations because they're scared to, than actual women who go out there and lie and do this opposite. That's just what I'm going to say right there. And in the history of time, well, we need to really strongly consider these things for women to be able to feel safe to come out and accuse people of these kind of things. So that's we can be different on this, David. That's fine. We're coming at it from two different sides. I side with the side that's been subjugated more in the time of things. It's more likely a man's going to rape a woman than a woman's going to lie. Let's just put it that way. I'm going to say that right now. Seriously. I know how guys think. I know how they try and get away with shit. And that's what I'm saying. So I don't believe him. I believe her. And we can believe different sides. That's fine. Let's see. Nako's saying if you hire Rudy Giuliani, you're hiring a disgraced lawyer who currently has no legal credibility. I don't even know if he's allowed to practice law at this point. In fact, he's probably implicated in the indictments with Trump, and he very well could be going to prison just like he is. There's 6 people that are indicted with Trump in this new federal indictment that came out this week, and he's probably one of those 6. So he's probably going to go down with Trump's ship, Rudy Giuliani, for sure. Raymond Jacobs saying, I side with innocent until proven guilty. David, do you think O.J. Simpson was really innocent? Ha ha. There you go. Good example. We know OJ probably did that shit. We know he probably did. But money will get you out of it. That's what I'm saying. That's why I don't trust the justice system. Money makes it not justice for all. I've seen it myself. I've been that person who's gotten paid out of getting in trouble. And yeah, justice is not equal to everyone. You got that money, you can get out of it. You get out of it. Oh, yeah. Iceman has retracted his message. All right, let me get back into what we're talking about today. Leo Rautins, fantastic person. All right, there's a funny clip from Pascal today in his Salzburg experience over there. Somebody asked him about why he's not with Jakob. Where is Jakob? Where is he? This is what he said. He said, he told me I can't be there, bro. And he's like, all right, bro, fuck you too. Get that camera on me too when I say that. He don't want to hang out with his bro, man. Jakob signed a big deal and changed on me. He heard I'm coming to Salzburg, and then he went on vacation. I thought we were friends. I guess not. That's what happens when you make some bread, sign that new deal, and don't know anybody, and then he snickers and he's leaving. All right, so Siakam is not being serious. He's laughing about this a lot. We were wondering why he's not with Jakob, because it's Jakob's home country, and you'd think that he'd be hanging out with his best friend in his home country, but apparently Jakob's not even there. He's gone to Greece, and he's like vacationing in Greece instead of hanging around with Siakam. In some ways, it seems like Siakam's kind of like sad because so I don't understand why these guys don't hang out more. Maybe they're just doing it privately and things are fine. But in some ways, I don't like him doing this because this will give fodder to dumb people. I know it's all tongue in cheek, and of course, Jakob has already liked the post, and he probably thinks it's funny too. But in today's society, with our social media and over analyzing everything, this kind of shit is dangerous. Now we can analyze it, and yeah, it's very clear this is all tongue in cheek, and it's just kind of fun and being jokes. But in some ways, it's like there's probably is some truth to it that Siakam is a little hurt that Jakob isn't around in Austria to hang out with him while he's there. And I get that. I could be like that. You go to somewhere, like you go to another city to go visit, and a friend lives there, but all of a sudden they're like, yeah, we planned a vacation to Cuba right now at the same time, and we're not in town while you're there. And I was like, oh crap, I thought I would be able to see you while I was here in Vancouver, but you're in Cuba right now, Tom Duke. What? Why are you in Cuba right now, Tom Duke? I came all the way to Victoria, British Columbia. It's that kind of thing. It's kind of like, I get it. I get why he's a little bit like about this. But hey, Jakob's privately being at Greece, having a good time, doing whatever he's going to do. It is what it is. But a little bit of a funny clip, a little annoying to me, but also kind of like it is what it is. And I get it. I don't like this. In some ways, maybe it is true that these guys aren't as close and hanging out together as they have been in past years. We don't like that. We want them to be very tight, and I'm sure they are. It's probably all silly stuff. Trevor J saying, I'm really following the guys on the Raptors team. I saw a clip of Precious. He looks good. Also, too, Duncan on the court. Precious, yeah, let's do our Instagram check since you brought it up, Trevor J. Grady Dick is in Toronto. He's talking about, like, his face and whether he has a blackhead, I think, or something. And then he was, like, hanging out with some guy, combination. And then he's got a friend, Auntie Shanti. And he was also with Casey Bannerman yesterday. That he finally gave him that the red sequin jersey, just like his fit on draft day, except as a Grady Dick jersey. He's showing it to him. And Casey Bannerman's getting put on blast a bit for the sequin jersey right now by Grady Dick. Reform transportation, as always, Thad Young putting that on blast. And then, of course, his youth leagues in Memphis still going on. Ron Harper Jr. showcasing Dylan Harper skills at the Curry Park. Very, very cool stuff. Marquise Noel has got this on his Instagram stories right now. I promise you, your mindset matters more than your looks. Everybody with me solid. I like that. He's also got a clip of C. Brickley. And there, see, he's getting passed to he's playing at the NBA Players Association gym in New York City right now. That's where Marquise has been practicing a lot recently. So there's some nice shots of him at Summit, New York, getting those shots up. Very, 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 very cool stuff. And good to see him really working hard. He's got a cool Toronto Raptors shirt on. And then he's also quoting Jesus Christ is the same yesterday and today and forever, Hebrews 13:8. So he's going to put in the scripture up too. So that's a good man of faith. Pascal, once again, with the Jakob Pertl clip from yesterday, him talking about him not being there for him now. Let's see. Monique's putting Serge Ibaka on blast with his interview with Shams. If y'all haven't seen that interview, go watch it. It's all right. Serge is salty, though, because he really does want to play in the NBA this year. Koloko, this is the stuff that Trevor Jay's talking about. He's at OVO. You can tell he's working out in Toronto's OVO Center here in Toronto. I like that. Precious has got something for us. He's saying, what if unlimited? There's a contest or something. Precious is so well-spoken. And honestly, in some ways, Precious is a very underrated Raptor that we need to pay more attention to in the years to come. And time's coming up very soon because he could do very well as a player, but also as a personality and who he is. You know, in some ways, we don't talk about Precious's potential for being a good leader on this team and some of the stuff that he could actually do in those kind of departments down the road. I seriously think Precious is that kind of guy because he's got a really well-balanced personality. And in some ways, he's just a really good dude. So I could see him being a very good leader as he gets older and older in the NBA. Lloyd has got, man, I really feel sad about this. Lloyd has had his dog pass away, 14-year-old dog. He's saying, thanks for being the best dog for the past 14 years. That's sad. I don't like hearing that people's dogs have been dying, whether it's Leo Rautins or Lloyd, Scotty's friend Lloyd. He loves his dog and he's going to miss his dog a lot. We're mourning with you, Lloyd. I don't like seeing this. What about Lloyd? We're not happy to hear that your dog died. All right, I guess that's the Instagram check for today. Pretty cool stuff. Not too much stuff, but some good stuff. Kenrick's here. Good to see Kenrick Chronic Art James. If you need a tattoo or some sort of art commission, Kenrick can help you out. He's on social media spaces as Kenrick Chronic Art James. You can get in touch with him. You can get commission. Sometimes the victim has the charges because the accusers lie. The department trial and Emmett Till proved that. We will have to keep an open mind. We don't know. Well, yeah, that's a very good example, Emmett Till. And that situation is very, very, very bad and stuff like that. Well, we got to look at the optics also. And what I'm trying to say, Kenrick and everybody, is we've got to look at the way things have gone in the past. And if there's a history of injustice, especially towards Black people in this situation with the very racist story of Emmett Till, what happened to him, well, that's why you got to kind of look at the side that's been subjugated or been in the negative end of those kind of things. And that's why that is a weird situation, because obviously systems aren't always just. It wasn't just in Mississippi in that case with Emmett Till at all. They took the word of a white woman who was openly lying, and she died. She right before she died, she admitted she lied or something like that. It's really fucked up story. And that's what I'm saying. In some ways, you can't go by a system. You can't go by a system because sometimes systems are corrupt and they're not actually just. And that justice system at that time with Emmett Till involved was definitely not just and was wrong. Well, that's what I'm trying to say, y'all. What you only need to stand on the side of the subjugated, the side that has been put in the wrong place for a longer time. And in this case, these situations, it's the woman. She is usually the victim. It's not men getting false accusations handed to them. That's a bullshit, blown out of proportion thing that doesn't happen as often as everybody thinks. There's sure you can see the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial and be like, oh, women are gold diggers and all this kind of stuff. That's not a good example. And that's a very most women are not going to get involved in these kind of situations because they're very stressful. They're not fun. They're embarrassing. If they get involved in these, there's usually for a very good reason. And so, I mean, listen, we don't know who the victim is here. Josh Jackson could be the victim. Y'all are right. If that comes out and it says that, I'm gonna say I'll apologize for this. But will y'all do the same if it is Josh Jackson did rape that woman and she is the victim? Will y'all circle back and do that? If it turns out that the allegations weren't true and he didn't do that, I will circle back and apologize to him and say I was wrong. But will y'all do the same if this is proven to be all true? That's what I want to know, y'all. That's what I want to know right now, because I'm okay with being wrong on this. And I stand by victims. I don't stand by the accused. I stand by the victim. And I don't always just jump to the conclusion that the victim is lying. No, 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 no. That's the wrong mindset to have, y'all. Seriously. Seriously. And that's a different situation, Kenrick. You got to really think about the optics and what's all around it and everything. We'll find out. In some ways, I hate this story because it's causing conflict with us, but it's really not important. It's such a dumb story. I don't give a shit about Josh Jackson. I don't give a shit about what's happening with him. It's like Terrence Davis mattered because he was on the team. But Josh Jackson, we washed our hands of him. He ain't got nothing to do with us. In some ways, this isn't Raptors news. We'll keep tabs on it and we'll see who's right down the road. But otherwise, I don't want to talk about this shit anymore. How about that? Fiercely saying Precious has special qualities in terms of being a communicator, very good in front of the camera and quite funny. He would be a good media correspondent. Yeah. Yeah, he's a very talented guy. I like the fact that he's working with the open gym guys a lot. He's producing stuff. He's very interested in producing things, producing music, producing clips for social media. He's got a real style and some stuff to him. He's underrated and he's overlooked in some ways on our Raptors roster. And in some ways, I may be putting Precious more on blast just to make sure you get some shine. Let's see. Cool Cat's here. Good to see Cool Cat. Good morning, Raptor Free Crew. Just joining. Who's going to Fred VanVleet? Thank you, Toronto party at Cabana today. Yeah, that's right. Fred VanVleet has a party going on today that you can pay and go to. Apparently, all the booths are paid up, but you can still go in and get paid. But you pay to go in, but you cannot probably get into the VIP access areas because they're all booked up and bought out. So yeah, if anybody's going to go to Fred's event today, definitely come back and report to us what's happened there. I will not be around any of the festivities this weekend for sure. Just because you know what, I'm a little bit of a germaphobe and I believe that COVID's still going on and I am about to mix it up with tons and tons of people. I ain't been doing that since the pandemic started and I ain't definitely not going to do it on Caravana weekend. That's for sure. So you won't be seeing me out there. Some of those Cabana pool parties, there's a lot of pee in the pool. Let's just put it that way. All right, let's keep going. All right. I did the Instagram check. Talked about, okay, this is something I need to bring up because I brought this up yesterday and I was wrong. And this is me going to prove that I can come back around and say I was wrong. And the thing I was wrong about is about Scotty Barnes. Scotty Barnes is going to be living in that building that reside on Richmond that Bradley brought up yesterday. He's saying but his building's not built yet. So he doesn't live there yet technically, but they have to build the building. And the plan is for him to live in the building. He's absolutely saying he will live in that building at Bathurst in Richmond. So, but the cool thing is, and this is a very, very cool thing. He actually helped design the building, y'all. He had a big part on like designing the athletic center and some of the amenities for the building. So this is a really cool project for Scott, because in some ways he can have his own personalization on the building's whole plans. And it could very well be they designed his own apartment for him, specialized for him in this building, residing on Richmond. But we're all going to know he lives in that building now because they put it on blast. In some ways, he's opening himself up to that kind of LeBron stuff yesterday. But I'm sure this building's going to be fantastic. It will be at the corner of Richmond and Bathurst. And he will be living there after they finish building it. So I was wrong. I said he doesn't live there. Well, he is going to be living there, but he doesn't live there currently. He has to wait for them to build it. And then, but what an amazing pitch to people to sell the units in that building. You're going to live in the building with Scotty. And you probably will see him around the building. You don't think they're going to sell all the units in that place? And if Scotty's an investor in that project, he's going to make money off of it too. So very, very cool situation for Scott. In some ways, I wonder if his place is going to be as nice, but I'll bet if he's in charge of helping them build it and design it, they're going to set him up with his own really crazy apartment. He'd very well maybe in the penthouse at the top of that building by the end of when they finish it. He gets the absolute best top notch apartment in that building, and they sell all the units out because everybody's like, I live in Scotty's building. I live in Scotty's building. So very, very, very cool. I'll give you the address. We know where Scotty lives, y'all. The address is like 149 Richmond Street or something like that, is where he's going to be living, y'all. So we know exactly where you live, Scott. You told us. You told us where you're going to be exactly now at this point. So, yeah, where's the 164 Bathurst Street? That's where he's going to be living, y'all. 164 Bathurst Street. So there's the Scotty will be living at the building that he's talking about. So let's go. All right, let's see. David's saying if the glove don't fit, you must have quit. Okay, Johnny Cochran, give me that Chewbacca theory. Yeah. Cool Cat saying Fred VanVleet, the businessman, making money off his farewell. Yeah, I'm not going out either. COVID ramping up again. Yeah. No. You won't catch me in any crowds. I don't even want to go to the Eaton Center. I don't want to go nowhere. I don't even like going around the corner in my neighborhood. I was trying to just stay in the house because I understand that this stuff is still out there. They're not putting on blast because they want everybody to go back to normal. But this shit is just as bad out there. And in some ways, the strains are even worse at this point. So I ain't having it. Cool Cat saying, oh, Scotty will be moving to the building. He'll have his own floor, maybe with his own gym and private entrance. Probably all kinds of different stuff set up just for him. Who knows? Maybe he'll have a cool fire pole. He can slide down the pole. So I don't know. Who knows? It's kind of like he can build his own apartment. It's kind of pretty cool in a lot of ways. Now, what I have heard is basically what they're saying is that he's going to design like the athletic gym for it. Like he's going to be in charge of like how the gym looks and the equipment and what it is all about. That he's planning that. And there's other kind of like, apparently this building's going to be laden. This is how they describe it. Laden with amenities. Like this is laden with amenities. So many different cool things about this building. They're going to have a very like cool game room and all kinds of different cool like added stuff for people that live in that building. I'm sure it's stuff that Scotty will go do in the building. And if you live in the building, you may see them. It could very well be the people that live in that building very much get to know Scott. And they have like an unspoken code that we don't mess with Scotty. We love him. We see him around in the gym and stuff like that. But we're just cool with it because we see him all the time. It's not a big deal. So he can just be normal. And well, there'll be security at the front door. And if you're a resident, you can come in and you can live in the same building as Scott and maybe work out the gym the same time as Scott. But if you're an everyday person, you ain't coming in. So it'll be like that. It'll be like that kind of thing. I'll bet you he'll very much move around that building as a normal person. And the people that are fortunate enough to be able to live there will be involved in seeing Scotty on the regular. Trust me. I'll bet you that's what's going to happen. He's totally like, I think that's part of why he loves this project is probably because he gets to be a creator in this project and help develop the ideas about what the building should be like. And like the different things about the building. It really is kind of like he gets to be Pee-wee and build his playhouse. So I think that's pretty damn cool. I think it's very, very cool. In some ways, it's they're saying that Simu Liu, Robert De Niro have done similar things in Toronto with different condo buildings here. Well, this is going to be a huge one. Reside on Richmond with Scotty Barnes. Hell yeah. A lot of people are going to be all about this. People that got the money, they're going to be going there. That's for sure. Let's see. Trevor J saying, I have my fair share of Caravana Parade when I went to see the real thing. I go back to the country where I was born, Trinidad. Oh, I didn't know you're Trinidadian, Trevor. I have a cousin who married a man from Trinidad, and he's one of my good friends, my good friend Matthew. Yeah, very, very cool. It's good stuff. They're going to be partying and doing it over in those places, and they do it very, very much a hardcore way there. Oh, yeah. They get down and do Carnival in the right way on the islands. I know that's for sure. Yeah, that's awesome. It's just like in some ways you go to Caravana in Toronto, it pales in comparison to what you might see on your home island. That's for sure. Yeah. Iceman saying Anthony Bennett signed a 1-year contract with Sono Sky Gunners of the Korean Pro Basketball League. Very interesting. Canadian Toronto player Anthony Bennett, former number 1 pick in the NBA draft, is now at this point, he is in Korea playing. Well, is he still playing in basketball? Cool Cat saying good investment initiative for Scotty. I think this is brilliant. I mean, he's probably going to be part owner of the building, and he probably will be sharing in the profits from things. Obviously, he should because he is the draw. I mean, that place should sell out. If they have not sold all the units in that building already by now, they will very shortly. Now that everybody knows that Scotty is going to be living there right there, and then at that point, yeah. Richmond and Bathurst, y'all. That's gonna be Scotty's neighborhood. And I know where he lives now. He lives kind of over near Liberty Village, but he's gonna be coming even closer to downtown at this point. So there you go. There you go. Good stuff, Scott. And he ain't afraid. He's gonna tell you where he lives. I reside on Richmond, is what he said. Holy crap. All right, here's an interesting article on ESPN.com. Steve Kerr is saying that he thinks that Las Vegas and Seattle are the smart options for NBA expansion next. That the next two teams that should be gotten are Seattle and Las Vegas, and that's what he thinks. He says it feels right. It's obviously not my department, but Vegas and Seattle seem to be such smart franchises. It's a shame that we ever lost the Sonics in the first place. But as you look forward and you think of what we need a couple of Western time slots. Think about all the doubleheaders on TV where the second game is starting at 8:40 Central Time. We lost a couple of West Coast time slots back when Seattle and Vancouver left the league. It hurt the TV schedule, which hurt the whole league schedule. This is actually a really smart reason, and it totally makes sense. In some ways, if we get two more Western teams, it's going to displace a Western team into the Eastern Conference. And there's speculation to be either the Timberwolves or the Grizzlies that will join the Eastern Conference just because of their geographic position and where they are closer to the other teams in some ways. So that could be very interesting. They add two Western teams, one in Seattle, one in Las Vegas, and all of a sudden the Grizzlies are in the Southwest Division of the NBA. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see how this goes. The Southeastern Division, I should say. Yeah, Southeastern. Let's see what else you guys are saying. David's saying Scotty's in Liberty Village. I thought I saw Banton driving by me in a parking lot last week. Maybe he was going to see Scotty. Yeah, Scotty, we know kind of where he lives because Race Mode ran into him in his neighborhood last year with his kids. He was out walking, and Scotty was out walking the dog, and he came up to Edmund and he took a picture with his kids. It's fantastic. He's told us this. He said this was right around when Scotty said on his Twitch, if y'all are adult, don't come up to me and try and get a picture. If you're a kid, I'll take a picture with you. I love kids, and approach me in public. If you're a child and you want to say hi to me, I am open to that. But if you're just an adult by yourself, don't talk to me. Don't fuck with me, is what he said basically on Twitch. That's how he said it on there. Well, Edmund, Race Mode Daily, did get to meet him last year in public, and it was in that area of town, and he was just out walking his dog. So Edmund kind of knows exactly where he lives, I think, right now, but we don't want to be stalkerish and weird. But I do know he's in the Liberty Village area is where he is currently. So he's going to be coming even closer to downtown because he's going to be on Bathurst now. All right, let's see. Kenrick's saying, when it's a black dude, we can always find a way to tip the scales of media towards guilt. Keep an open mind, please. Well, there you go. All right. That's something you're right. I should think about this also. And I guess also when it's a black man with money and something that can be taken from them. I get this. And, in some ways, this is the thing that's like Tiger Woods. This is the thing that's like Kobe Bryant. This is the thing that's like Bill Cosby. This is the thing, Michael Jackson. These are icons. These are important black figures. And in some ways, they get come after and teared down also, just like a Lizzo or an Ellen. It's the same kind of thing. There are forces out there that want to destroy icons and people of excellence that are, black people sometimes. And that's the fucked up thing. Now, I think Josh Jackson's too small potatoes for this to kind of be the factor in this. In some ways, it's like, don't even get in a questionable position like this. But I get what you're saying. And you know what? You've made the best argument so far, Kenrick, as far as why I may need to check myself as far as already presuming he's guilty. You're exactly right. You're exactly right. But you know what? I don't know. I'm just looking at it and we're just speculating. We can all have opinions on it. And it doesn't mean jack shit. We'll find out the truth hopefully by the end of this. If we do hear what happens, then we'll talk about it then again. Otherwise, I don't really want to talk about it anymore. Randolph saying, good morning, beloved Raptor freaks, most informative gang. Receive the blessings that is specific to this day and the purpose for you being alive today. Ricky Rubio is stepping away. Mental health. Yeah. Can't blame the guy if he needs that. He's older too. It's not like he's a spring chicken. Maybe he's just burnt out. It's so many years. And he's had a lot of injuries too at different times that have probably been taxing on him and mentally hard for him because he'd rather be out there. So who knows? All kinds of different stuff. Okay, Cool Cat saying, I thought Scotty lived downtown at the Water Mystique Point. Isn't Josh Jackson married recently? I don't know. I do know he's accused of rape, and he's hired the same lawyer that's defending Trump right now. So you figure that out. Let's see. Scotty, no, he's in Liberty Village. When they see him riding the scooter, it's always over there near Queen, and not as it's past Dufferin. So it's like that area. You know where I'm talking about. He's very close to OVO. It's like he can scooter to OVO from his house. Is basically what I know. I know that he could probably scooter from his house. He doesn't even have to get in a car. He can get on the scooter and ride to OVO from where he lives right now. So let's see. Cool Cat saying, or Geomad. Good morning to Geomad and good morning to Jason Smith also. Thanks for being here, guys. 9:30 a.m. every morning talking Raptors. Tomorrow, Sunday special report. And guess what, y'all? I'm gonna do the dumpster fire rankings tomorrow. So I'm gonna figure them out today, and I'll present my new this summer's dumpster fire rankings tomorrow. So we're gonna do the dumpster fire rankings tomorrow. Oh gosh! And unfortunately, I'm gonna put the Raptors right in the middle. Yeah, I'm not gonna put them in the worst, and I'm not gonna put them in the best. I'm gonna put them right in the middle. I probably should put them higher on the dumpster fire rankings, but I'm gonna kind of use them as a balance point between the ones that are kind of worse than us and the ones that are doing way better than us. So the dumpster fire rankings are coming tomorrow, y'all. So be ready for it. Yeah. Fiercely saying, yes, cool cat. I saw pics on his IG. His wife seems to be an IG model. I didn't even know Josh Jackson's married or anything. Listen, in some ways, I don't want to talk about Josh Jackson anymore. He's not really a Raptors news. This is unfortunate news. And it's been contentious today, honestly, more contentious than it needs to be. Gio's saying, I saw your picture with Magic. So cool. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Very cool thing that happened there. You know what? Give me 1 second, real quick. I'm going to be right back. Hang on. I just wanted to get this real quick. This is what I got from Magic afterwards. I got this uh, autograph picture. It says to Alexi, I hope all your dreams come true. Uh, and I don't know what that bottom part says. I hope all your dreams come true. Good luck, Magic Johnson. Yeah, so I've had this up on my wall or on my desk pretty much my whole life since I've met him in the 90s. So yeah, that's a cool picture, wasn't that, Gio? I feel really fortunate that I got to meet him. There's I've actually gotten to meet some of the greatest point guards in the history of the NBA. I've met Steve Nash, I've met Magic Johnson, I met Walt Frazier, I've met Muggsy Bogues. I have a good list of very good point guards that I've seen that I've met in person in real life over my time. It's been very, very good. I met Scotty Barnes. There's another great point guard. Let's see. Evelyn's saying, good morning, Raptor Freak family. Happy Civic Holiday long weekend. And Canada will celebrate my birthday on Monday, the 7th. August 7th is Granny Evelyn's birthday. Happy birthday, Evelyn. We'll make sure to remember this on Monday, actually, also. So awesome stuff, Evelyn. I love that. Let's see. Gio saying, sorry to get you out of your seat. Laugh out loud. No, I wanted to actually show this before because we were talking about him before. This is my framed autograph picture from Magic Johnson that says to Alexi. Yeah. And he said, I hope all your dreams come true. And I was like, well, the Raptors won a championship. I want to win some more. And Fiercey saying, woo, wow, that is so neat, Lex. Thanks, Fiercey. Yeah, heart to you also. All right. I don't know if there's much more to talk about. I'll just check Cool Cat's comment here. That is awesome. Magic is my all-time favorite NBA player. Then Pascal is next. The only two players that I have bought their stuff. There you go. Well, I'm in good company then. Yeah, he's been one of my favorites too. Even though I'm not a huge Lakers fan, just meeting him. And then, there's a lot of things about Magic that I really like. His personality, his entrepreneurship, his giving back to communities. Like the things he did with his Magic Johnson theaters is so important. He employed a lot of people and did so much good stuff in so many different ways. He's just a really, really great person in a lot of different ways. So yeah, I got a lot of love for Magic also. All right, y'all, let's wrap it up. Thanks for watching. So much sharing the love for Leo Rautins. Leo, we love you. Whenever role you're on in the broadcast, we love hearing your voice and your expertise on NBA. And we are so happy that you've been a part of teaching Canada the NBA. And we look forward to more years of you being around the broadcast booth. And, just keep on keeping on, Leo. Your life. And, one of the things I love about Leo right now is every single day he puts words of wisdom, just like Trevor J, up on his Twitter. and they really are poignant at sometimes. Sometimes read what Leo's saying in the morning, and I'm like, you know what? I needed to hear that. I'm so glad I just read what Leo just posted because it kind of gives me a bearing and a base to think about my day in a good light, as far as like maybe I'm a little jaded or I'm a little upset or maybe I'm not being grateful about good things in my life. Well, Leo can give you that perspective real quick. So follow him on Twitter because he's always posting very inspirational kind of stuff right first thing in the morning. He like gets up and he gets that coffee and he says, "Today's the day, go get it." Stuff like that. So definitely a good follow on Twitter. Let's see. Randolph saying Lex, Anthony Davis, and the Lakers agree to a 3-year, 186 million max contract, the richest average in NBA history. Pay Pascal and lock him up now. This is a little bit of a gamble, a little bit of a dangerous move. In some ways, people are always saying they're saying that Davis has more pressure on him. Well, he already had a ton of pressure on him, and now this just makes it worse. You know what? I get it. The Lakers want to invest with him because they know they're going to have an era after LeBron, possibly very soon. And they want to lock down their people like Austin Reeves and Anthony Davis and Rui Hashimura. I don't hate the contract. It is what it is. They're going to pay him, but now he's making 60 million a year, and that is crazy. He is the highest paid player in the league. Well, hopefully he'll play. Hopefully he'll be healthy. Some people are saying they're posting stats of how many games he's played in the last few years compared to like Kawhi and Steph Curry and other people, and he's actually played more games than some of these guys. So he does get a knock of being hurt and not around, maybe unfairly to a degree. So I don't know. I don't hate that. Whatever. In some ways, I don't believe in him. I wouldn't invest that much money in him. I wouldn't want him on the Raptors for that amount of money, seriously, because in some ways, he's not going to get you all the way to the top. He won a championship with LeBron in the bubble, but that's a goofy championship. If they win another championship somehow, some way, I will be shocked. I honestly will be shocked because there's a lot of things about the Lakers that just aren't exactly right. Fiercely saying, geez, Lakers and people dare shading Masai and Bobby. I know. Listen, yeah, they're going to, anyway, I don't even want to get into that. Gio saying Chef's birthday is on Monday too. Okay, we got some Leos in the house. Leo, the lion, the family cat. Yeah, he'll kick you out of house and home as quick as that. The Roman holidays. All right, yeah, all right. So we'll be celebrating Chef's birthday and Gretty Evelyn's birthday on Monday. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching me. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share it tomorrow. Dumpster fire rankings. Talking about dumpster fires in the NBA. Which teams have been a dumpster fire? Currently a dumpster fire right now. We'll talk about that and where I see them and who's the worst dumpster fire of the year right now. Yeah, we'll talk about all that tomorrow. Sunday special report, 9:30 a.m. Raptor Free Channel. Let's go Raptors!